Okay, Ganesh Chish for joining us for our uh, coffee time and Tlingit hour. Kas Ankh, if you have any questions that you would like us to answer or story topics, and then just keep in mind that this will be recorded and posted to YouTube. So I know not everything can be shared, but we can do our best. Ganesh Chish for being here.
Good cheese for having me. Achtawasagu Hwasaku Inaxati. Uh, it would make me happy to know about your culture, where you're from, culturally speaking. Your clan is what I said pretty much, but
Khatakwa, you're talking to me?
uh, to Kajung, but you too, everybody. But I haven't heard anything from Kajung yet, or I missed out. I think maybe.
Okay.
Oh yes. I actually have to change my name. It's got me logged in on my bosses, but my name is kind of similar. It's Kochgoon. Kochgoon Yuchat Duasal Kiethna Hatsati Akwan Clean AD Ayachat Yakta Hiton Ayachat Big Dipper House Raven Dog Salmon Akwan from Juneau. Yeah,
Conchish.
finished cheese.
Wa ekwa ach achlich Jim Thomas.
I lost you guys.
Oh,
Oh, there we go.
oh.
There we go. Okay.
Wa ekwa achlich Jim Thomas.
Inech Kwan Hayachat City.
Hmm.
Yukuka can do shitty away. Quashke Kwan, you how do a saw. Now you can listen to me when I'm talking. I don't talk fast. You all have to learn to do that slower, talk slower, especially when you're giving your name. It's precious stuff. So you say it slowly, you know. You do a sock, and then you give your clans and so forth. But Quash, that Katwatu when we came down to Yakutat, long time, Yan to At. Kinech Kwan Hayuha City, we were Kinech Kwan from the Copper River, Yan to At. Yakutat cook away. Yehawuti, when we settled into Yakdot, that's when we purchased Quashk. This is long time in history. It's not recent stuff. So we're both Kinechkwan and Quashkekwan. Now, Yadich Asayi, Na Sayi, to Ach, way southeast Alaska, Cook. You know, among the tribes and nations in the Tlingit country in southeast, you don't hear those two clans because they belong in Yakutat. And so, in the same token, I have a tough time understanding all of the clans that are in southeast Alaska. The different Jew Hasati. So somebody said to me not too long ago, he said, I have a tough time learning Tlingit, especially my way, because they go into my mom's family, my mom's clan, and then how my mom married out into another clan. And then they start naming all of them, and they said, there's no way I can learn that. And that's true. That's true. It's good enough just to know your mom's clan. That's the important one, because you're all the same clan. We follow the mother. So, But on the other side, my grandfather, my father, Artequeti. Now, see, those are Southeast Alaska, big, big names. My grandfather, Jim Carditu, Kaiditu, which Kakea the Guechuta Wasak, big, big man of you. Who always Hunach respectech with Tutliyacha and many of our chiefs. We didn't used to call them chiefs. I have to keep saying this. Kashate hani, yasta wasak. Kasha is the forehead. Kasha, kashate hani, the forehead that stands toward the enemy. That's the leader. That's the respected one. And we stand behind that being because also in his forehead is great wisdom. So it's not a glamorous thing. Being Kashat Dehani was not glamorous. Responsibility was huge because the way they lived then is kind of the way we are today. People were sometimes lazy. They didn't do what they were supposed to. And the Shate Hani, you didn't question that one who stood to the front. When that man said, you go and put fish away for the winter, you had to do it. You go pick berries, put it away for the winter, because our enemy is not the tribe that's going to come to our shore and fight with us. The enemy is going to be Mother Nature, the winds, the big ocean. The trees are going to fall down. All kinds of things are going to happen to us. Rivers are going to flood, and our houses are going to burn. Those are the things the Shate Hani would bring the people together to learn. You've got to learn this, because if they don't, then they're going to drag the whole tribe down. You could endanger the whole tribe if they have to feed you their food. You see how important that was?
Yeah,
Very important. Very important. So those are just ways that I get to explain to you. Wasa ito wasaktu.
Ka-sank.
Ka-sank. And your way in Nayitsu, what is your clan?
Kagwantan. Gauhittach.
Kakwantan.
Gauhittach.
Gauhit.
Tlakwandach.
What's up?
Tlakwandach.
Oha. Kewa.
Lich. Lich or Lich. Ish to Ish. George Williams, Sr.
Kakwantan. That is why it's so important that one knows oneself. And mostly we know ourselves through our grandparents. Ish, to Ish, that's how we know where it is we are from. And one of the fascinating things for me is Kakwantan, because you yakdot kuk Kakwantan yeyiti has yeko has to wasak kalyach Kakwantan. They had to, well, look, when you look at the map, when you look at Haines, in your country up there, Plaquan, look at all the mountains, all the trails. Alsac came down to the ocean, but it ran up inside Alaska too. So the people marched back and forth. How many hundreds of years Always, I always like to tease my people and say, "Gutahyas na ati sawe we kwashkekwan kata sawa." What in the world were they doing walking around when they came across the Kwashkekwan or Kashyach, Copper River? So the Kakwantan came down the Copper River. Did they come down with us, Kinakwan? We don't know. Long time ago. We always say, it's still sticking way out there, that glacier. The glacier, and so who knows how long that was. But we walked together, if not through the inside of Alaska, the mountains, but also through the waters. And that's how the other clans came close to us and we started to marry. So that kind of makes us connected then, see. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Cook Kwatan, how Dekachenach, David Strong Jr., Hakwatan, Weshkatnigi Adat, we trail, something nach through from Jilkat, Heen to Yakdot.
Oh,
He used to tell me this story. There was one place where they had to carry the canoe for a while and put it in another river and then come down.
oh yeah. Yeah. We I think Alsac, you think it's the Alsac River? I'm pretty sure Alsech, I think is what we used to call it. Alsech. And we still traded back that way. There's some of our brothers and sisters living up interior Alaska, way up where the line comes down. They were at that meeting 3 years ago, I think. We had big language. That's the first time I ever attended big language meeting of children and elders and so forth. And there were lots of Tlingit from Tetlin and up in that area. Some big lakes up in there. And I liked the way they talked. We could still kind of understand each other, So Tlingit Hasati Kunach Atwatuwaat. We really walked around. We weren't happy in just one place. Like fish camp. We'd make different fish camps. And the Kashat Dehani would rule which fish camps belong to this Shat Dehani, that one, and so forth. And because that's the way they control the food also. You've got to have Shat Dehani control certain rivers and so forth. And that's how we used to gather our food and so forth. But some of those were a long ways from our villages. Like Alsac is, I think about 100 miles from Yakdot, but you got to go over that horrendous ocean, the Gulf of Alaska. It's always been a dangerous waterway for anybody. And there's stories that are told of when the Raven would warn them, don't take your canoes out to the ocean. And we always had places. You look all throughout Southeast Alaska. In Yakutat, we've got lots of islands, big bays, even right off the ocean. There's big bays and then lots of islands inside those bays. There's just lots of food for us. You look at Southeast Alaska, from Glacier Bay, from Dry Bay even, and on down Huna, and all through nothing but islands, big water. That's the way we say that the one who made us, our creator, took care of us. And we were charged not with worshiping the creator. We were charged with loving our mother, the earth, Hatla'ayu, Yatlatka. And we are charged for protecting that mother. It's very important, even today. We have to stand strong and say we are going to protect this mother. There's going to be lots of people who are going to be taking things away from us. The old days, maybe I'm talking too much. Am I talking too much?
Take.
You old days, 50 years ago now, Alaska Native land claims. It was a big thing to go after the claims of Alaska. When we were settling, it was tough. It was big. I was a public relations man for AFN. I was also on the board of directors. And we had a leader, a Tlingit leader, who at the time was, I think, one of the very first lawyers in all of Indian country. His name was, names are going to slip me now. William Paul. William Paul is strong. He was a good mind. Our people didn't give him all the trust they could because he was educated. We were, even though we promoted education, we were a little afraid of education because they might come back and try to trick us, just like the late Khadu do to us. So William Paul got up at that convention in Anchorage. It was the time of settlement. President Nixon was on the big screen at the AFN convention. And the president said, according to the wishes of your leaders, I am signing this Alaska Native Land Claims Settlement Act. Well, William Paul was talking to us serious. I think he even cried. And he was followed by chairman of the Miccosukee tribe of Florida. This is how strong the Indians all over the nation were wanting to control and save something for the Alaska Native people, because we knew that we were selling out. $1 billion a long time ago was lots of money, probably worth close to a trillion now. And but that's what they offered us. It was attractive. And the chairman of the Miccosukee said, you must treasure what is in your water. You must treasure what is on your land. Don't give it up for money. But you know what? Unanimously, we passed it. We accepted the Alaska Native Land Claims. We became quasi-tribes. That's the way the Congress did not want any tribes, no tribes. Tribes was a big enough problem for them in the States. Achawais, they put up $1 billion. Half of it came from the United States Treasury, half came from the oil royalty. Plus, we got the equivalent of the size of California as our land, as Alaska Natives. but it all went to the corporations. The corporations were incorporated under the rules of the state of Alaska. So we were no longer really under the protection of the federal government. And of course, you know, all the history that went on after that. And some of it is pretty sad. For us, maybe it's not so tough. We're in Southeast Alaska. There's lots of food by where we are. But just because there's food in the water doesn't mean we can go get it. You see?
Mhm.
Who's going to listen?
Mhm.
What do we care whether you're Tlingit? That halibut in the water belongs to everybody, the whole state of Alaska.
Yeah.
Therefore, we're going to control it. We're going to control you. And that's, yeah, I think, and this is an expression you younger folks should take to heart. The one who lives inside of me. That's a very important expression. The being that sits down here inside of me is thinking this. That's when the old folks used to set up and listen to each other. Because now, when we're trying this, by the way, Gunnar Chish, for your trying it. Don't be embarrassed. Don't be taken back by words that aren't coming to you. It'll come, and we'll give it to you. You know, we're not going to say, no, don't say it this way, say it this way. We'll give it to you. You're struggling for that. I struggle too, all of us, because some of the old expressions are gone now. So some of us, we have to probe each other and say, what did this mean? So, that what I always say is value. Is there any value in what we say in Tlingit? If there isn't, no use, no use. We say hooch, hooch. You know, we have to understand the value of the language, you know, and we have to understand how the words carry respect and how they carry honor. Because boy, that was number one in our world. We used to go to war. We used to kill each other over disrespect, over not honoring each other. You know, the one thing we learned from that late is gossip. Gossip. And if that's all we learn, Ishan Mohan, you know, in the future, some of you, you're younger. I'm at the age now where I'm poking my way with a stick into that new world.
You look like a young man to me.
Goodness geez. At your voice, we want to make sure what we are saying to you, we're not teaching you, we're giving you ideas of, if you say something this way, what does it mean? And if it means something good, you know, I worked with the Indian tribes all over the nation. I represented over 100 tribes by myself from Washington, D.C. 50 years ago, I won Mount Adams for the Yakama Nation. Mount Adams is 12,000 feet high. I won that as an individual for the Yakamas. Well, I pulled together lots of people to do it, but they hired me to pull that together. So we have to think like they did 50 years ago. It started with some of the later presidents where everybody would fly to Washington and sit with the president, and it was a big deal. In those days, in my days, 50 years ago, it was really not too hard to be a part of the president's team. I became an assistant to the vice president, Spiro Agnew. I traveled with him so much I became a Secret Service, member of the Secret Service. You Sean, little Tlingit fella, huh? It's the thing that was real strong in those days was the chairman of the tribe, who could stand in front of the president, the vice president, and pound on the table. This is my land. This is my land. From shore to shore, from ice cap to ice cap, this is my land. We never let the Tlait'qa forget that. We never let them forget that. And that's what I'm hoping our people like you will be able to stand up and say, I was told and I saw in my mind how the Sha'atehani stood up against this nation, against this world, and kept some of our precious things for us. That's how we've got some of Alaska. Tlingit and Haida was the first to get a settlement up there. They almost kicked us out because of it from AFN. I was the secretary of Tlingit and Haida when we made the settlement back then, 7.2 million, whatever it was. And lawyers were trying to make it big. Well, the lawyers sued for 80 million. And we couldn't even count that. We used to put up gut, dimes, quata, dimes and quarters. That's how we used to send representatives to Washington. And we thought 80 million. Wow. That's for all of Southeast Alaska, Tongass National Forest. And then they settled for 7.2 million. Somehow we've managed to stretch it, though. We've kept it. And it put us into the Alaska Native land claims. The other groups, the Eskimos of the North, Eskimos of the Yukon rivers and so forth, then the Aleuts, Athabascans and so forth, did not want us to be a part of the Alaska Native land claims. They said to us right in public, you've already settled. Why should we share any of this with you? But we had some money, so they couldn't totally ignore us. We helped to finance a lot of their things. So, it's, again, and now we're into a new conflict. This is something you're all going to have to figure out someday. After the Alaska Native land claims, which all the land went to these corporations that are Tlait'qa controlled because it's state has it. We got tribes now. We didn't have tribes back then. Tribes came by later. But they got the government. They've got all the programs. They don't have any land. Someday, we're going to have to stop disliking each other. We're the same people. Tlingit the Yawahon. We're the same people.
Hmm.
And the corporations are going to have to say, look, you guys can't make it without land. We'll give you some of this land to develop with.
Yeah.
The corporations don't have to give it all up.
Hmm.
They need to give and share with the tribes, because the tribes are the ones that can get the money nowadays.
Ah.
Yeah, wait. Now, see, ayana tank. I'm talking about things too much.
Okay. No, good ideas. A lot of the ideas I have are English based, and I'm having a hard time finding a way to translate it because there's not words for it really, I think, or I haven't learned them yet. But everything you say is true. I think I totally agree. One miscongruence that I see where we need to evolve is the systems are based off of this parliamentary procedure where we put somebody at the head of it and give them the idea that they need to stay there forever. And right now, I think all the people that are learning the language and culture, they're all leaders, potential leaders.
Yeah.
And we have these political organizations and corporate organizations, and those leadership spots are designed just for us. But compared to the rest of the world, we have like a couple compared to the rest of the world. And then for us to be able to compete with them as leaders, we need to breed leaders. So we need to let these leaders utilize the leadership spots that we have in order to blossom into something else. Like right now, I think Joshua Ish Peterson has done some great things in the 8 years that he's been there. But I think that in a way, as a people, we're holding him back from something that he could become even greater at. He's got connections and skill sets and just ambition to do great things. And in my opinion, it shouldn't be Lisa Murkowski that is running for the spot. It should be him. If it were him running for that spot or their governor, then we would have the potential in a few years to have a Tlingit president. But if we enable the idea that he stays there forever, I think we just hold someone like him back and keep our opportunities low, and don't encourage people like that to go further, and just build up these other leaders that are from underneath, and we just churn them out. We just keep churning them out. That's what I think we should be doing. But that's just my little thought.
Gunarchish, konach gunarchish. Yukatanki away. Konach. You has to in ya council King Kesti David Katsik. He said something that was really important to me. I'm going to pass that on to you because it's important. The way you're talking is excellent. He said, Kayukatanki aya kunach adat kunas teach. The talk of the mouth is what has to be very carefully watched. He said, awakka heyaku kutsiti kake. There is a spirit that is connected to the mouth. See, it can be powerful, just like you're saying, powerful, but it can also be destructive. And so we have to be careful how we say it. And that's what I want you to carry with you, because you've got good, strong thoughts. And I just like the way that you put it, that you're not saying, oh, it's time, we have time limits, term limits. We set this one aside, set this one aside. No, I love it. We build them up. We build them up. And then we put new ones under them, under. And that's what's going to make us strong in this nation. And there's nothing wrong with Tlingits being the head of our government, you know.
Sheesh, Yahweh.
Well, yeah, you got Taislawa, Akuste, Chayu, Konana, Ahunaktu, the regular tribes. We don't have any senators and so forth that are emerging. And yet, when one does, wow, it's good. It brings us strength. 2 words you're going to keep in your mind. Patk, patki, the soil. Don't say dirt. Don't say dirt. That's our mother. Patki, the soil, our mother. Ujuwa as tunach. It is through our mother that the trees grow up, the soil. Now, when many of us live on that tatk, it's called an ani, ha'ani. We share tatk. We don't fight over it. You put a line around it, and before you know it, don't come near me, you know. Yet not teach. And sometimes we get like that in our Tlingit politics. In our politics, yeah. Achua, I think I like the way you talked, Gunnar Chish, Gunnar Yatach, Gunnar Chish.
Waetsu.
Oh, Chish.
Eyuchatangi Achlatsinchnuch. Ijiwu Chatgua Guayahuan Kleskech get the fleet.
Oh,
it encourages me not to quit.
Yeah, Achlatzini. This is the way it said. Iyuchatanki, your talking, your words. Achlatzini, my strength. Achlatzini siti. Iyuchatanki, Achlatzini siti. Iyuchatanki.
Iyuchatangi.
Achlatzini.
Atlatsinich
City. See, Yakawayeti, way, so, like if it's Raven Hayesh, Atsuchak, Yakawayena teach down inside of us. All the time he's with us, Raven and Eagle. They learn things. You know, they should, even if your brother is condemning you, the raven hears it, the eagle hears it. If they hear too much of that stuff, that's why you got to watch out who you hang out with. If they hear too much of that stuff, they'll start thinking like that, and it's going to come up. It's going to come up into your head, and you're going to start talking like that too.
Hmm.
It's important. Yeah, Achtuwu. Always Achtuwu. You love up that raven. You love up that eagle, that wolf, because they're there to protect you, but they can also hurt you if it's too much. If you're too close to people that want to wish you bad luck.
Ah, how? Uh, Rega ka kus kuste. Yach. Utwugut on Chuyego Gank Tich. It's like walking on a thin line.
Oh,
Chus Yahyati we Yuchatan Saach Saach Yahyati hot pepper spicy. Saach Yahyati sucked bark, bitter. It hot pepper yakyati ajawe sucked bark yakyati. It's spicy or bitter. Rega ka atwugut uskitich chash yakyati saach. When you're a warrior, it's a fine line that you walk. You have to walk like the verb sa'ach. It's really easy to take your spiciness too far, and then it becomes bitter. I like words like that. I think it teaches us about our culture, the way we are, Yahweh.
After work, to go away you to Tangeha. I like the way you think.
Sheesh. Wetsu.
Little bits of wisdom fall out of my head once in a while.
Okay. Looks like big ones to me.
I hope I get to see you up there when I come up.
Yahweh. Katsu.
Yeah.
So with the way the life is going, it's hard to tell what's happening, but the animals are pulling back for some reason. It's not just one species anymore. They all are. And it's easy to blame this thing or that thing, but we don't know enough about the way the whole thing works to know exactly what it is. But I hear about our way of life. I looked at this book, Our food is our way of life. And there's things they talk about that we don't do anymore. And I just wonder if we should somehow at least get biologists and stuff to start entertaining that the way we did things before they came, it was doing just fine. And now that we kind of are doing things differently, it's starting to struggle. One thing was a couple of the elders were talking about fishing, and they were saying that when it came to putting away fish, we never fished for them out in the ocean. We were always afraid it would scare them away from the streams. So we would wait to fish for them in the streams. How do you think we go about doing that, engaging them, the rest of the world that way, to think, it worked back then like this, there has to be something to that. It can't be just because we had it all to ourselves.
Sigji at the you one of the things that I do that I kind of have fun with is I travel on the National Geographic Lindblad ships. They're not big 300 footers. And I come up through Alaska, I go all through the waters down here. And I travel mostly with people who want to know about Earth. You know, they're wealthy people. They just want to explore, know about Earth. And they interviewed me a couple of weeks ago with the very top people. And I think it was on Earth. No, it was not on Earth Day. It was Indigenous Day. And I told them, I said, people make a mistake when we talk about what's happening to our world. People make the mistake of saying, Mother Earth is punishing us. I said, no, Mother Earth does not punish. It is our responsibility to take care of her, keep her healthy. I said, what is happening right now is that our mother, our precious mother, has been wounded so much, she's starting to heal herself. As a process of healing, things are going to happen. Too much water here. No more ice there. Earth is going to shake because she's healing herself. And she's going to heal herself with no thought of us, whether we should be blamed. She doesn't blame anybody, but she is going to heal herself. And if we work with her, and this is one of the areas you were talking about, we can emerge as a Native people. Take that knowledge that we had of preserving. We didn't go out and fish in the ocean because we didn't want to lower the numbers of the ones that came to shore. We fished them on the shore, and that gave them the chance to go upriver and multiply. That's a big lesson. It's a big lesson. And even the people who commercial fish nowadays are beginning to realize that we've been taking way too much. All kinds of things away. It's happening. And it's our Eskimo, Aleut, interior Athabascan people who depend so much on the food of Earth. They have been deprived of it. Too much. If you can have it in a village, I can have it in a big city. You know, that kind of thinking. So our people have been suffering. Well, that's going to start shifting too. And it's going to start shifting to where the people who were depriving us of our food are now being deprived of their food because the country, the land is drying up down south. Even what they used to get in cans are not going to be coming up like that anymore. So then all of a sudden people realize, whoa, maybe the natives of Alaska had something going. We should help them. We should join them. And then try to help the earth heal by not having all the ice melt from under the earth. So it's thinking, lots of thinking. And I like that approach you have, because now we have to train and teach our young people to capture that value that's in our language. And I like it that you keep trying, no matter how much you struggle in the mind with it, you just keep trying it, you know. And when you struggle with some of the words, like we said, we'll throw it out to you. And then it becomes easier. You know, for 40 years, I did not speak Tlingit. But before that, up until I was 10 years old, I slept with my grandma. She was crippled. I think she had polio or something. So she didn't speak English. So I would tell her everything in Tlingit. I'd go up to A&B Hall in Yakutat, and I knew how they had I don't know, you're too young. They used to have those projectors with a big reel on it, you know, and the big reel runs, and those were our movies. I would run home and I would tell her the whole movie in Tlingit. So you see how it ingrained in my brain. It stayed there. Even for 40 years, I didn't speak to anybody, but I'd speak to myself. It would ring through. You know where I learned Tlingit back? French. I took French in high school and college. And I started to think both in French and in Tlingit. And French and like Tlingit, we a little bit backwards. The language, not us. So it's really important that we have this language exchange constantly, and that you know you're willing to try those words, even though you know others are watching on Zoom, and because it'll encourage them. They'll say, "I can do this. I can say it." You know. They'll call you up and say, "How did you say that?" Before you know it, you know you're teaching each other.
Geez. It's 1 and it's my lunch hour. But before I leave, you know, maybe I'll try to come up with 4 questions. We may not get you know, hopefully other people will come up with questions too, but I'll come up with 4 and I'll try. Those 4 will be in Tlingit. I'll do whatever I can to put it all in Tlingit so I can ask you in Tlingit those 4 questions. You may not get a chance. I'm cool with just listening to you the whole time. I could listen to you the whole time. Your words, your thoughts really build up the space in here, inside of me. It makes me feel whole. Like there was it's not like I was sick. It's just like there was something missing, and now it's starting to feel whole inside. The other thing is, if you give me forewarning, or give me time to prepare, my work is flexible because I work remote, and they would, I wouldn't imagine they would not, or they would feel bad about a 2-hour session versus a 1-hour session if that works better for you.
Okay. You can work on a cheese, and you know that I'm filling in time today because normally we'd have Ken here as well as Paul Sr. And Paul has been very kindly sitting in the background, throwing in one word at a time anyway. So I won't talk this much when the others are here.
Yeah, I can cheese.
Cheese.
I'll see you, T. Cute grandpa.
Oh. Achtwak Awetanga. She carries my sister's name, but she's also my granddaughter. So
Yeah,
oh, is that it now?
Huchua.
Huchua.
Cheese. Achtawasiku wasa itu asaksa.
Oh, Khadega.
Khadage?
Oh no,
Oh.
you're asking me what my
Ah.
name is?
Ah,
Hatsati is the
Ah.
first name. Hatsati
Hatsete.
means the one who stands to the front, the forehead, the big one. And then the other one is Shayikan,
Shayikan.
the one who brings sunlight to Mount St. Elias.
J.
Yeah.
Gonna cheese.
Gonna chishi honto.
Ah. Tsuye kwasatin.
Anach. How? Yeah, well,